with the Seekers, I am very curious where everything is going to go. I feel like last week there were a lot of, I think we basically learned that some of the people out there are living basically still just begging for the gods to come back. That's the vibe I got from the whole like their script on the wall saying come back, and then the other part saying like rain or tears, not rain. That made me think that it was basically saying the storm rack, right? The eternal storm that's been happening. Is it like they're saying it's not rain, it's tears? Like it's the tears because we miss the gods. Like that's where that's how I interpreted it. I mean, it wasn't said outright, but it's how I interpreted it. So how did you feel about this latest episode of Critical Role? It was not my favorite. It is also somewhat hard for me to judge because, as I said, I was sick. So I was watching it and I was mentally kind of checked out. I was not feeling well. I had aches and shivers, and so it's hard for me to outright judge it, but it would probably not be in my top 4, maybe even top 5. It just felt like they just made like a really bad decision. And to me, it felt like they did it because that's where they need to go as like a cast and not as their characters. But that's just speculation. It's how I felt about it. But it was a fine episode, right? Like I didn't dislike it. There hasn't been an episode really that I have fully disliked, but it is not in my list of favorites. Personally, there's nothing wrong if it's in one of yours, but that is not how I feel about it. But feel free to share your own thoughts, guys. I'd be happy to hear them. And then I guess, how are we feeling about the Seekers? I guess we can start chatting about that a little bit as well. Evening level was enjoyable. Looking forward to seeing the Seekers tonight. Let's go, Daniel. Welcome in, dude. Quake, what's up? Start earlier than I said I was gonna do 7:45, and I was sitting here and I was like, what the heck? Like I'll start at 10 minutes early or whatever it was. About 10 minutes early. But I mean, I just I say I'm gonna do I was 8, they were 8:30. I went live at 8. They then bumped theirs to 8. Then I decided to bump mine to 7:45. Now they're going live at 7:30. The obsession is real. So I'm just gonna go live whenever I want now. I'm gonna keep it around the schedule I tell you guys, because I'm not trying to like, make you guys excited for me to go live at 8 and then I'm live at 7:30. But I went live 10 minutes early. But I'm happy to have you here. We consider she was so strong to last seat. Yeah. Oh, so I will agree with that, Roma. I did not bite or believe in that at all. And then now I was thinking that Tyranny may have a little bit of a crush. And then I mean, Sam played that so well with his little like, oh, I feel like I can be vulnerable with you, blah blah blah, and I miss my ex, right? Like there was that sort of thing. That was funny. I also, the ending, the Sam delivers again. The last thing that happens is basically where Thimble swoops over to his ear and is whispering like, hey, like, thanks for healing me and not being, rude and all that. And then he just, like, he's swatting, like he's half asleep swatting something away from his ear because this little forge thing is, oh, that was so good. That was so good. I loved that. I will say, though, the whole thing where she was talking about, somebody tell me, because where Tyranny was like, oh, I almost got caught and turned to stone because you were talking to a dog. And I'm like, what dog? There was no dog down. Like, I didn't know what she was talking about. Was she talking about, somebody spoke with a rat, but I thought that was Cadigan, but I don't remember. He set the alarm on the flank. Like, she was like going on and doing her whole thing where she like turned into a dog and was all like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? She was talking about Wolfric. What did she do? What did he do with Wolfric? Where the dog protected her? Are we talking where, or him? Like, didn't Cadigan was that in that fight? Where Cadigan was like, hey, protect, her? Him, sorry. Cadigan told Wolfric to protect, Sam? Yeah, I was very confused. I was very confused with that. It didn't make sense in my mind. But again, I thought maybe I forgot something or missed something. I mean, it was 3 weeks of not seeing it, so Wick stayed back. Yeah, so that's so odd. I mean, I get it. She's playing like the I guess they wanted to really dig into her coming across as like the jealous type. But it's like Cadigan tells Wolfric to protect Wick, and then Tyranny gets mad that Wick had a dog around. Like, it felt like a big stretch. It did. It did. Her reaction felt like a very much a big stretch, and I think to try to drive home like this idea that there was like, I guess, feelings or something. I don't know. That was a weird one to me. That was a weird one to me personally. Also, what's up, Jay? Saw you. Hello, little bun bun. Sorry, guys. I was on my little bit of a ranty rant. Yeah, the end was great. Sam is the best. Yeah, that was fantastic. I love the story objectives the schemers they will set up. They were so on point narratively. No waffling or indecision. Love that as a viewer. Yeah, the little moment we had with the schemers I thought was really cool. I really did think that was cool. Crystal paid attention to her. Yeah. He was the back as support, and I think that made her mad. Yeah, yeah, that just was very odd to me. Cadigan order Wolfric to guard. Okay, yeah. Our group is so out of left field from Tyranny. I had no idea why Tyranny responded to the Wolfric stuff like that. Yeah, again, it felt forced. It felt a little forced to me. Childlike overreaction, my honest opinion. Yeah, which again, I also understand they are trying to do some of this stuff to show that Tyranny reacts and like she is childlike, and then Cadigan, you know, and basically it's like you're a kid, like you've only been here for 6 months, so I can see if that's where they're trying to lean into it. Glad you're better. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it was rough. For anybody who was here at the end of the last episode or the last pre-show, you may remember me being like, I'm exhausted, like I'm kind of tired. It's because I was sick. Like halfway through episode 11, I was like getting the chills. I had the aches, like all that. Like I ended up with a headache. I didn't even get to finish the episode. So that's why I was so exhausted last week. It's kind of weird, but it didn't really bother me. No, I mean, it's not like I sat there like fuming about it, right? I wasn't like bothered. I was just kind of like, what? You know, like, yeah. Now we know why Cat waited so long to give the knife to Tyranny. Well, yes. One, I think, and I thought the way he did it was fantastic, and he created the handle for it. All that stuff was awesome. Oh, let me correct my critical role thing. It says 11 at the bottom. However, I also felt like, I mean, let's be real here. These arcs are flying. So, yo, Heathen, thanks for like on TikTok. So I feel like he didn't really have a moment to do that. To be like, there wasn't a great moment where they were just hanging around to be able to do that. Maybe that episode where they traveled and met the Black Rabbits for the first time, I think episode 9. Maybe they had that moment. But other than that, like, they've just been go. Yeah. Thank you, Emma Duke. I appreciate it. Thank you. I am glad to be feeling better. I don't think my stomach's 100% yet, but it is much better than it was for the couple of days. Can't chat. Just want to keep with the ground. Hey, appreciate it, Quake. Thank you. If anybody hasn't already, click the thumbs up button on YouTube, double tap your screen on TikTok, all that sort of jazz. So the tailgate, to me, it was cool. I don't know that it was what I expected it to be. And I don't know how to describe what I expected it to be. I feel like maybe the last part should have been longer, and maybe the first part is shorter. Does that make sense? And I know that like leans to like, oh, well then like the beacon bits get more time and the other, but it's also like, I wanted more, I guess, of them answering community questions, reading things from chat, like that sort of thing, instead of an hour of the hour and a half is reading Danny's questions, which were good questions. Don't get me wrong. They were fine questions, but I wanted it to feel super live, if that makes sense. I wanted it to feel super live. And for an hour, you're sitting there just reading questions nobody gave you other than the person who's part of your team already. You could have just pre-recorded that, right? Like you could just pre-record. Like it didn't have that same like here's a big interaction. Let's just answer, let's respond to random stuff we see in the chat. Let's shout people out, like that sort of thing. Again, enjoyed it, watched the whole thing. I was just hoping they would lean heavily into, because if you're only going to do it once every like 3 months, lean heavy into that live chat thing, man. Like, I think they should go heavy into that instead of, oh, let's spend an hour just answering pre-made questions from our staff, right? Like, you went live, you're doing a live show to answer pre-made questions from your staff? That just felt off to me. And guys, because I've been talking quite a bit, if I miss your question or comment, feel free to retype it. I'm going to try to catch up now. Would have been nice for the soldiers to join the Hounds further, but I think it makes sense for Thimble and the others to want more info on House Royce and the statue of their friends. Sure, Cameron, but it's like, I feel like they could also get that from going to the capital of Timony and seeing this council, and the council providing petrification removal from everybody who may have more information and all that sort of stuff. Only problem for moves to, yeah, and we were missing Travis, which was kind of stinky. What's up, Dane? So yeah. I wonder if they say all the people who got bored with campaign 3, so that's informed C4's pacing. C4's pacing is very fast, and because they're trying to contain arcs into certain parts, again, that's why it felt like we were saying, oh, that's why he didn't give it to her for so long. There weren't moments, they were just going. It was just pressure on, we got to get to the next beat, we got to get to the next, like, that's kind of what it felt like. So yeah. If Tyranny's father knows the second she lies and her father is tying his daughters to the bad guys, how is Tyranny not feeding every fighter's table move to the bad guys? Oh, that's true. I get what you're saying. Hold on. I can't see your super chat over there. Oh, you just said $10 super chat. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So you're saying, like, if he's basically able to tell when she's lying, then how is he not able to be like, oh, yo, they're doing this. Oh, this is where they are. Halivars, they're over there. I get it. That's a valid question. That is a valid question. 100% valid question. And thank you once again for that super chat. What's up, Solid Smoke? Is there a reason why they don't carry over Foresight to dive into C4? I don't know, Mobius. I don't know. I wanted something that felt more alive than that did. I'm not going to go into, I just did a whole tangent. Like, again, don't be wrong. It was more content. It was more content, more of them just talking about their characters. But it like, that was basically a pre-recorded segment. Like, they could have an hour of answering pre-written questions from your staff. Like, I just don't understand why that's what they were like, let's make a live show and do that. Like, I don't know. That's just me, though. I'm glad they handled the petrification that way. Well, they haven't handled anything yet, right? Not sticking around tonight, but have a great show. Oh, okay, Dade. Appreciate you popping in. Oh, hold on. Personally, I'm excited about the Seekers. However, I'm nervous about how the audience will think about a Briangar. I personally really enjoyed her, but some fans have seemed to not like her. So I've tried to figure out, right? Because I'm not the type, I did a thing on this. I'm not immediately, just because you don't like a Bria does not make you a racist or misogynist. Are some people? Yes, 100%, undoubtedly. But it doesn't by default make everybody. And so I've tried to think, like, what else is it? And I think it's because some other people are not that animated while other people are doing things, and she is always animated. So it always seems like she's trying to participate in stuff while she's like, somebody else is talking, she's going. And that's fine. But people give it so much attention and then they start to like hate it. And it's like, just don't look at her when she's doing it. Like, she's not interrupting them, she's just making faces. But that's just me speculating, trying to figure out, why do people have such a problem with her? Because I think she's good at RP, I think she understands the game well. Like, there's a lot of positives to Abria. So yeah. But we're not turning this at all. We're not about to have a huge, deep conversation about Abria in here. That's not what we're doing, because it always ends up becoming something, and I don't want it to be a thing. What's your thoughts on leveling up at a time of the player's choosing, says the Bi Baritone on Twitch. I think it's really cool. I think the problem is that people are always going to want it to happen at these super cool, epic moments, and sometimes, dude, just level up. I hope sometimes people are just like, I'm just going to level up. Right? Like, that's... But I think it's cool. I think the idea of it to be able to have a narrative moment tied to it, no problem. Yeah. I think that's cool. I am most interested in seeing the interaction between Brennan and Matt over the next few episodes. I am also excited for that, Daniel. 100%. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for more Matt. I'm excited to see, are we going to get NPCs of the same quality that we had with the soldiers? Because we had some absolutely amazing NPCs with the soldiers. Are we going to get that with the Seekers, though? Is there going to be a little bit of a fall off? Kashara Ravi. Yeah, that's her father or whatever. Yeah, the Prince of Shadow or King of Demons or Prince of Demons, Lord of Suffer or Shadow or something like that. The Shadow of Suffering. Yeah. Maybe she is. But David, so you're saying the Demon King might not be connected to houses like that, but they are with the Halibars, right? They have that relationship with the Halibars, with the souls and all that sort of stuff. So Reddit is hard on her. Yeah, and that sucks. I when I made a little short about it, it was just like some of the reason that people get so heavy on it is because they over focus on it. And if they just sat back and watched the show as normal, didn't sit there and stare at her and wait for her, I think they would enjoy it more. But again, I don't want to get in a whole thing with that, so that'll probably be the last I speak on it. Jason, I see you said the same. Everyone is hyper focused. That's basically what I just said. Yeah. Roma. Again, yeah, some characters might put their actions like very heavy, like they're very into them. I don't mind that as much. Like, I don't mind if Taliesin does it. I don't mind if other people do it. Taliesin was one of the people that I thoroughly enjoy as a role player and to watch. Which is odd because I know some people feel very differently. Like Taliesin is one of theirs, but Taliesin I thoroughly enjoy. Campfire scene would have been a cool point for leveling up. Yeah. I understand enjoying some of the team, but hating is wild. For sure, Arctic, 100%. There may not be as many NPCs because they will be traveling through wastelands for long stretches of time. True, or there will be loner NPCs or sketchy ones that might be evil. David says, Brennan always good for NPCs and bosses. Heck yeah. Krim says, the interaction with the Dwarven lady last week was really cool. Agreed. And now I'm curious. Again, I think it was about, like, there's people who are still wanting the gods so much. I think that's what they were going for. Looking RF Holloway, what's up over on Twitch? Looking forward to seeing Alex Ward. Have been a big fan of his since LA by Night. Yeah, and he's done really well playing the character he's playing in this, which was interesting because early on I saw some people complaining that, like, oh, why is he role playing like that? Like this kind of like scare or this shy boy, and it's because that's his character's personality, and he's doing it well, like a sort of shy young man who's just like isn't sure of himself. He's not super confident. His family isn't real proud of him, kind of sent him off, and he's been off at school because he didn't get the power so innately to him as they did. Like, he's kind of doing Octus really well for that character. I am a fan of that. It's the same reason when people are like, oh, Murray's personality or that person's person. It's like the whole idea is that people, like, you get a plethora of personality types in your 13-player campaign. If everybody acted like Tayor, it wouldn't be that fun because it would just be 13 people acting the same. But we have these various personalities all splashed in. The very blunt, aggressive Murray, the unsure of himself, unconfident Octus, the showman of Hallandale Fang, right? Like, you get all these sorts of people. The woodsman who feels inadequate and alone, Cadigan, right? You get a lot of this. And those contrasts allow you to get a lot of different points of views. Only Teor is Teor. Exactly. Exactly. What are the three birds again? Is there one emblematic of each table? Yeah, I think we established that. There were the magpies, the falcons, and... Magpies, falcons, something else. There's another bird. Wick and Octus should meet. Oh, they certainly will. But I also think we're going to see some moment where Octus becomes sure of himself, and that's going to be a really cool scene. When he kind of feels this pressure and he's like, oh, and then he like breaks out of that shell and is like, no, like I'm going to live my life on my terms and I'm going to be a freaking BA mofo. And if he started out that way, that wouldn't be a cool moment, right, guys? Same reason. People are like, oh, Julian, why is he still being kind of douchey? Because if he already wasn't, his whole point of starting that way sucks. Yeah, Nightingale. That's it, Jason. Nightingale. Magpie, Nightingale, Falcons. I saw some people who are like, man, Julian's still acting this way. And it's like, yes, it's been 3 days. Like, what? It's so odd sometimes. Also, what's up, Sunken Train? I'm excited to see him and Ashley's character interact. I'd say the one person that kind of shocked me how quickly they kind of dropped their personality a little bit, it felt, and maybe it'll come back. Maybe just a brief drop at the end of the overture, but Bayless was like cold, distant. I just want the night song, and then was like friendly and you know, like, yeah. I think viewers understand RP. I don't think they understand watching character arcs and progression, which is funny because they watch it in movies, right? They watch as a character starts one way, becomes a good guy. They watch as a character that used to be lacking confidence becomes more confident. They watch a character whose world felt so firm and right suddenly start to question it, like Wick. They've seen all this in movies and video games, but then it happens in this and they're like, oh my God, why are they acting that way? So that they can have an arc and character progression and go through a journey as a character. Well, she found the stone. Yeah, but she didn't get it. The progression of time is hard to follow between tables. Yeah. Well, they established, I said it, I think, in my recap, and somebody pointed out that, like, I don't think they've outright said it's been like 2 weeks or something with the soldiers, but it was like 3 days for the seekers, 2 days for the schemers, and there's no way it's been less than like 6 days. Like 6 days minimum. I think more like 2 weeks for the soldiers. So they're all in different, like we're literally on 3 different timelines. It's not synced up. It's not synced up. We're literally in different timelines. Just being angry about the stone. Oh, no doubt. No doubt, Chrome. I think that's true. I just think she showed up like, I'm this distant, cold, vicious elven warrior, and then she was just like, I'm friendly now. And hey, I'm gonna go with you guys, and I wanna keep you safe, and it's just like, whoa, you know, like that was quick. Yo, what up, Jimmy? Welcome in, welcome in. I also realized after last week's episode that not once did I advertise the Discord. So if you guys didn't know, in the description here on YouTube, and links in bio on TikTok and other places, I have a Discord where we have a Critical Role live chat where during the episode we talk about it, like, oh, did you see that? Or holy crap? Or what do you guys think that meant? And you can join and chat with us about Critical Role live. We also have D&D channels if you want to ask for advice or talk about characters and stuff like that. So feel free to join the Discord. We talk about Critical Role throughout the week. And yeah, so link down below. I had a command for it, but it doesn't seem to work on YouTube, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Also, if you're on YouTube, click that thumbs up button. And even if you don't want to say anything else, just type hi in chat to try to get some engagement up. See if we can get some more some more folks in here. And of course on TikTok, double tap your screen. Same here. She has a deep history. We will see a lot more of her personality. Yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot of really interesting stuff about Bayless. And Bayless has the most to share about what it was like before the gods were killed. Fling after the slaughter. Glory be pro. I'm pretty sure they're going to where the visions took place. That's where I believe they're heading. The pre-intro scenes have been mostly weird. Like the cold opens. Warlocks are so cool. I hope there's a Tyranny cold open with her backstory or a scene with her patron. Well, I don't know that she's going to be as special with that, because I think her whole Warlock thing is a little different, because she is a demon whose pact is probably just like with her father, a demon, right? Like that. So I don't know that we're going to get that same, but she did hear his voice and being like, daughter, you know, good job, or whatever he said. Very good. So yeah. Love the soldiers table, but I'm pumped to see a new group take off. What's up, New Dice? I agree. You know, I'm excited because this is the first switch. I want to see how things go with the first switch. Is it going to feel like a man? Where are the soldiers, right? Are we gonna get that sort of like, we just watch these people for X amount of time, or is it just gonna be like, cool, let's move on, like we're in a new group doing a new thing? I'm curious how it'll go. I think the Seekers are going to find Taisha's other son. Yeah, so that's the location they're going to, is where, is it Alagar? I don't think it's Hero. I know there's a Hero. I think it's Alagar. Lee says, regarding Velas, I think the friendliness may be closer to her natural personality, whereas the Cold War persona was because of the stress of losing the Night Song. Completely possible that it was like, oh, actually, and she did have that moment where it was like, wait, if I take this from them, I'm just going to go back and be alone again. And so that was like, I guess, her moment to kind of switch gears and be like, okay, I'm not just going to take this, right? Wait, is there a break next week? Are they taking another week off next week? Did they say that? I will flip this table, chat. I will flip this table. End of the month? Yeah, but they took off the first week of this month and 2 weeks before that. Losing Wick and Cat for months is rough. Yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. I hope not. I really hope they don't do that. So then her flashback with her family. Yeah, I agree. And that she was way more peppy and happy and living a lovely life. Will there be combat tonight? And if so, how quickly does this group pick a fight? I think there will be, and I think between Velas and Julian, I think they will pick fights quickly. I think Aranessa, Octus, and Taisha may try to diffuse things before they become fights. I may be wrong on Taisha, but I think Octus and Aranessa will try to calm things down. Schedule they had said we get a show next week. They didn't really. Where did they release next week's schedule? And take off the last week of every month. Yeah, but I hate that, Connor. And they took off the first week of this month, so I think they should just do it anyway. I mean, taking 3 weeks off, one not being a holiday week, just a week, and then coming back for 2 weeks and then taking another week off. Arrgh. That would displease me. Displeasing me. Heated. What's up, Smile? It's good for you. Heard they were hammering out the Prime screw up last week. Wait, the Prime screw up? What Prime screw up? Speaking of Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, aka Twitch Prime, head on over to NERDCORE GG on Twitch and hit me with that Prime sub. Perfect plug, Jay. Great job. I also hate that they take off every last Thursday. I go through withdrawals. The reason this one will feel so bad is because they took off 3 weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this one would feel so bad because they missed half of last month, the start of this month, so it would be half of the month again. We'd get 2 months in a row where they only did 2 episodes each time. If they miss this next week. Prime messed up the promotion of the Mighty Nine. They didn't push the show or make it easy to find. Why? I guess I don't understand how that would impact them publishing an episode, especially because they made that determination before the break, like the week before the break. So that means that a month out from when that episode was going to air, that they were like, hey, we're going to go ahead and do that. You know, like that. I don't know. Feels a little odd. I watched Calamity 2.5 times in the meantime. Wow. You really like Calamity, huh? Grown numb to schedule with CR. Nah. I like doing this stuff. Like, I like the pre-show. I like making content around it. So whenever they miss stuff, I'm like, oh no. I did get a couple different videos out during their downtime, but Boneyard Mod says, I wonder what their filming schedule looks like. Do they film once a week, or do they do multiple episodes a day, or maybe they bring a table for a day, film a bunch, then edit show together? My guess is they do, for instance, the Soldier's arc probably took place across a week. That's my guess. Is that like the Soldiers showed up and then, like, you know, 3-4 days that week they recorded like a morning segment, took a lunch, came back 2-3 hours later, did an evening segment, and then they just swap between those. Which I think is a sucky way to play D&D, but you know, that's just me. Travis Mistatogic is working out the problem with Prime. Gotcha. I wonder what the problem is, though. Like, that was a decision. They were like, hey, we're not going to push this as much. To be fair, it felt very pushed for the first week. The week before and the week of, it felt very pushed. Like, they were doing a ton of stuff. They were in every major publisher, basically. So many interviews everywhere. There were ads for it. Seems odd to skip weeks on a pre-recorded show. Yes and no. I agree on some stuff. Again, the holidays, I think, is totally fair. Because at the same time, you're also thinking about your audience. You're going, okay, they're going to be busy. Let's not put them behind by 6 hours, 7 hours, you know, like that sort of thing. I think that's fair. But like the third week, it's like, huh? And then like another week, like the end of everyone, it's like, I don't know, maybe they're giving people a chance to catch up. I don't know. I'm not as sure about that, but oh, and the question somebody asked, do I think there's gonna be a combat? Sorry, I feel like I started talking about a different part in that, and I didn't really answer it. Because I answered the part about like who I think would be like more willing to start one. I could see there being a combat. I could. They're traveling through a sort of iffy road. They've already seen some Taconis banners, some revolutionary council banners. So yeah, I think it could make sense if there was a combat. They're traveling on an old road. There could be some monsters, stuff like that. So I'm kind of excited for like a monster fight, if I'm being honest. I want to see them fight like a freaking Etten or two, or freaking ogres, or like a gelatinous cube, you know? Like that's what I want to see. But I feel like we're going to be getting a lot of humanoid on humanoid combats. A lot of those. Bring out the troll! Yes! I agree. They don't have the diverse party like the soldiers, so it might be harder for them to talk their way out of things. Maybe. I mean, they have, I don't have the stats up in front of me, but they do have some characters with decent charismas. So someone had to die this episode. Who do you want it to be, and who would you hate for it to be? It would depend on how it was done. Because on one hand, I would hate for it to be Julian because I want more of him, but I also think he could die in a great way. I think Octus dying would be funny. Because like he died and came back with this whole thing and then he just dies. That'd be kind of funny. I don't really want Valus to die. So I'm not sure. Oh, we got a super chat from Sunny. Thank you, Sunny. Critical Role is pushing it. Amazon had issues. Search was pulling up campaign 1, not the Mighty 9. Oh, so there was like, if you went and searched like Critical Role on Prime, it was coming up with Vox, but not Mighty 9. I guess I was aware or unaware of a lot of this because I saw tons of stuff on it. Now, mind you, I'm paying attention to it. So I guess it didn't impact the critters. It impacted like wider scope for people to be able to get access. So that's why I didn't notice. But okay. Sonny, thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. And thanks for filling me in about that. Someone had to answer that. Now, I can't remember, has it been mentioned if creatures were affected by the death of the gods, like whether magic was? I don't think it has been mentioned, other than we know the Celestials went crazy. I don't think I've seen a normal monster in any campaign. He always has a take on them. Oh, really? Brendan never gets like a straight up normal one. Yo, what's up, Caden? I'm hyped. Hello, sorry I'm late. No reason to apologize. Edwin, thanks for being here, dude. Happy to see you. 1979 says, I don't want to see monster fights. I want to see smart plots and plans and to see them play out. Monster fights are tired, in my opinion. I mean, I want to see smart plots and plans and monsters. Like, it's Dungeons and Dragons. I want some monsters in my Dungeons, Dragons. Dungeons, monsters. I want some monsters, all right? I'm not saying that every combat needs to be monster. I just want a monster fight. Like, I'm all right with a bunch of cool plans and smart stuff. Don't take my monsters away, man. We got a super chat coming in from Daniel. The soldiers had fewer grudges between them. Several of the seekers distrust each other intensely. How will that play out? That is a great question. I'm hoping. Here's my hope. We're going to see moments of contention, intense contention, and we're going to see moments of trust and building of relationships. I want both. I do not want we're all buddy-buddy now. Like, no, man. Like, there was some intense dislike and some intense problems in history. I want to see that contention and the parts where it starts to crumble. But I want the crumbling to be a process and not an instant, right? I want to see as, again, Julian starting to lose some of his sharp edge. Cool, no problem with it. I think it should happen and will probably happen eventually. I don't want it to be immediate. I don't want one thing to happen and he's like, you know what? I have been kind of rude and I just want to, like, I want it to be a slowing or a slow process of character arcs and growth. Mechanic Note says, you're my favorite source for D&D content. Thanks, man. He's a fraud, guys. He doesn't play D&D or pay attention to it. And I'm going to be honest with you all, okay? Otherwise, you might think that somebody actually uses me as their main source and favorite source. Aren't the Seekers more focused on exploration? Those were all ideas that we said based on kind of like what the original idea was that they like marketed as. I don't know that it's like confirmed. Like that. We'll have to see how it plays out. We haven't seen them yet. We know that currently they're out in the world exploring, but they're exploring in the same way the soldiers were. They had a goal, like they have a destination, a place to be. Last week I said I was hoping for Julian, and we got him coming. If I had to guess, Travis was dealing with that last week. Also could have been scheduled To be AR after the season I completed and ratings were in. Yeah, maybe. Completely possible, Sonny. Those are all valid points. Yeah, Monster Fight is 2 hours of show where nothing changes in the story. Ultimately, are we all here for the acting? The story is not the combat. I disagree. I disagree on the fact that like a monster fight can't progress the story. I think the monster fight can be tied to it. I think it's totally valid. I also think that part of exploring a world and going through, part of playing Dungeons and Dragons is like traveling and running into some beast and being like, holy crap, like this thing just came out of the woods or the river, or we just got attacked by a horde of goblins. And then that could tie into a story. Like, you know, maybe they get attacked by a monster and the monster has like this discoloration or this darkness to them, and that ties into, wait, they're infecting the monsters, right? Like the Taconis are doing something to the beasts. Those are all ways to tie a monster to the story. So I don't agree with the idea that like a monster fight is a waste of time and can't be story and isn't progressing a plot or anything. I think Brennan and Matt and all these guys are very capable of doing both. I can do both, and I'm not Brennan and Matt. So like, I don't know. I think it's totally fair to be like, you get attacked by two Ettins on the road, and it turns out they got paid by the Taconis, and they can like leak some information about where one of the extra people are. I'm at the bottom. It can be boring sometimes. So yeah, so can story and plot. Yeah, 100%. Anything in D&D can be boring sometimes. Anything. Rewatching campaign 3, and they had loads of combat monster fights. I have to admit that it got a bit repetitive. Yeah, again, me saying I want to see a monster fight and want some monster fights isn't me saying like every episode needs to be half an episode of them fighting a gelatinous cube or basilisk, right? No. But I would like to see some. I don't want just human fights. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't just want continuous humans in armor fighting the party. I just don't want that, because that's repetitive. I think you can have what I want and what you guys want in the same thing and we can all be happy. It's kind of boring if combat lasts the whole session. I agree with that. 100%. Like, there's not a bit of me that wants the whole session to be that. Not in the slightest. 505 Daniel says, I don't know. I think combat can, of course, lag on a bit sometimes, even monster battles. But especially Brennan is really good at making combat incredibly narrative rich and entertaining. Yeah, you know, and I think part of it is making sure to get in dialogue, to get in some lore when you're fighting the humanoids and things like that. And I think you can do that, some of that with monsters as well. But I also think as an entertainment product, they won't do as much combat as most D&D games have. Most D&D games have more combat than we will see in Critical Role, and that's probably a good thing, because it's like, we don't want to watch a combat simulator, right? And that's fair. I'm an original fan from basically a year into first campaign. I feel like they're afraid of giving us actual content lately. The Tailgate show only 1 hour and having a beacon after 11 episodes. Yeah, I did a little bit of my take on that earlier, Geeky. One, I don't like that they're only doing it after every arc. And then not only that, but the first hour was them just answering questions from a member of the staff, like pre-written questions from a member of the staff. So it didn't feel very live. Like, it's not like there was a ton of chat interaction and stuff like that. Not that I want to go on the whole tangent again, but I feel like, if anything, the first part should have been 30 minutes to warm everybody up, give people time to get in there and ask some questions in Beacon, and then swap to responding to chat, responding to questions from Beacon that are handed to them, shouting out random things to see in chat and theories. And like, I wanted it to feel way more live and interactive than it did. That's my take on that, personally. At least there aren't any shopping episodes, and I saw something said afterwards from Stephanie. You know, there is a Murray Belair house shopping montage coming. Woo! Let's have some more shopping episodes. I like to focus on why they're doing things in combat more than the combat itself. Yeah, and that's so people who are more into the mechanics of things and be like, oh, they could do this and that, they may enjoy the combat a little bit more because there are decisions being made when it comes to that. Why wouldn't Oxus's family use tons of undead? Yeah, I mean, I think they will, but also, then why were they getting these sentries to detect them? You know, like that's an interesting part there. Yo, what up? Hey girl, hey. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome in. I always think it's hard to fit monsters into a civilized land. Where has this monster been? What does it eat? How's it there without the people of the area killing it a long time ago? So those are all valid concerns. And I think, for instance, with me, I'll give an example of how I did it in my game when it was starting out. Because I was like, oh, they're in this kingdom I created, right? They're in Andarath, and they're outside of the city. They're about 3 days outside of the capital city. So I was like, yeah, you basically get a triangle in this area between Eclindia, the capital of the elves, Brelwyn, the capital, like the nation's capital, and this other place, because that's like a highly traveled trade routes, you know, kings and nobles going in between. The further you get away from those places, the less safe it is. I also made there be a conflict kind of in the background stirring that made a lot of the guards, the armies, stay a little closer to the cities because they were fearing an attack. So then there were less patrols. There were less militias out there making sure the lands were safe because they were kind of protecting the close perimeter. Boom. Now monsters have trailed back in. Now bands of bandits and goblins have managed to start to take over certain areas and come out of hiding. And like, again, there are narrative ways to do so many things if you just get creative and you think about how I can do this. The gods have died. The houses are turning their attention more towards gaining power, maybe less to cleaning the streets, maybe less to making sure the roads are safe, right? Those are all ways that they can engage to allow there to be monsters. Sunny Chris with another super chat. Really appreciate that, $4.99. While I loved watching... I'm going to read this as it's written. While I loved watching Hung, Matt, and Brennan as GMs, I learned so much more watching them as players. Yeah. So I like watching them as both. I think I think them as dungeon masters and them as players, you can learn a lot, you can see a lot. And it's different. It's very different in how they do things. But I also love Hung, Matt, and Brennan. I do. All right. Thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Yo, what's up, Dealing in Fiction? Let me go back up in the chat. Muscle, what's up, dude? Welcome in, Muscle. Refresh my mind. What are they seeking? Object info. Well, we think it's Taisha's son, and then also just the visions. And finding out what happened, and remember the Royce caravans got stopped over there too, and they don't know what happened to those people. So I think it's a combination of things that they're out there to get, for sure. Speedster, Connor says, do you have combat in every session you run? I'm updating for the first time and struggling with how much you include. No. So it also depends on your players. You also have to remember, Connor, you're not producing an entertainment product. You don't have to worry about people watching and being like, oh, they're just fighting. They're just fighting. Your players are the ones getting to do the fighting, so they're going to be having more fun. They're going to be more engaged. I do not have combat every session. My game is 50-50 though. So I'll have a session with no combat, and the next one may have 2 combats and some RP. And then the next one will have 1 combat and 2 hours of RP, right? So it's going to switch and it's going to ebb and flow. But I have players who like to do some RP, but also enjoy combat. They like beating stuff up, fighting monsters, getting treasure. Some groups don't like combat. There are people in other groups, they play for combat. So it's going to depend on your table, and I think you just try things out. And it's okay if you don't have a combat in a session if your players aren't the type that are just always like, I want to fight something, I want to fight something. Hopefully that answered your question. John Michael with a $2 super chat. Just look at the camera and say, Hung, Matt. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. I did it enough. I had a good enough time with it. Sonny says, dang, voice to text got me. Yeah, I started to read it when he sent it and was like, what was he? Because I was going to try to figure out what you were trying to say and like fix it. And then I was like, I have no idea what this is trying to. I think it was watching, but it like did I don't know. And so I was just like, I'm just going to say it. Watching Hung Matt. Like, I don't. That was super funny though, Sonny. That made it so much better. Thank you for that. And thank you for the $2 super chat, John Michael. I really appreciate it. What's up, Sherry? Welcome in, welcome in. David says shopping episodes color in the world for me. I love them. I am fine with shopping. Do I want it to be 4 hours? No, unless there are other things blended in. If it's just shopping, maybe I don't want 4 hours. But if it's shopping and then like they spot something and they learn something and they build a relationship and figure, oh, we might be able to work with this person in the future, or they know something, there's something about that, I'm good with that if there's more to it, right? Yeah. Who will we get in this week's cold open? Back to the schemers again. I think so, but now we might start getting soldiers in cold opens. That would feel a little too soon for me. I feel like I kind of want the schemers again. Personally, I want the schemers again. I'm hoping for sneaky soldier cold. Wait, so is Matt packing a chicken speedo backer? We don't know, Daniel. We don't know, dude. I mean, maybe somebody knows. I don't know. What soldier do you want to be in the cold open? If there is soldiers in the cold open, Cadigan, duh. I want lore drops with Cadigan. Stephanie says, I'm hoping schemers, they are only in day 2 after the death, where the other groups are at least a week from the death. Well, so the schemers are 48 hours after when we last saw them. The seekers are only 3 days after, I believe. Unless I said it's been 3 days since you left Dalmakiar. In which case they're 5 days. No, 4 days. No, 5 days. So they're either 3 days or 5 days. The schemers are 2 days going into day 3, because that was the night of day 2. It was 48 hours after. So maybe, I guess technically maybe they were in day 3. Do the same. Any advice on getting your players to roleplay with NPCs and each other more? It's hard, man. Not all people want to do that. If they gave you backstories, use them. Use them. Make the NPCs ask them questions. If you know certain things your players enjoy, not even just their characters, but their players, you know, they like a silly joke, or they like a voice, or like a little goblin man or a little gnome man, utilize that. Like, make them want to interact, make them fall for those characters. Yeah. What I missed? No, it was a misspell, Daniel, and then we made a little bit of jokes about it. That's all. Yeah. Personally, I think a balance of battle strategy and maybe a little shopping is an ideal episode. Yeah, it's totally valid, Speedster, 100%. Timelines are all over the place. They should be. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit bouncing around. Multiple stages of play are always best. Steven, how old are you? I'm 34. 34 and a half. I'll be 35 in June. Do you miss being a sportscaster? Well, I won't say I was a sportscaster. I was an esports caster. So I commentated Counter-Strike tournaments, Rogue Company tournaments. I dabbled a little bit of Valorant. Random things like that. So I traveled around and got hired, whether it was online or in person. I'd go to a studio and I would serve as like a sports caster, a sports commentator, an analyst. I did a little bit of hosting, the desk and stuff like that for that. But yeah, I miss doing it sometimes. I was good at it. Like I had a natural knack for it. My voice was pretty solid for it. So that was cool. It was something I did on the side. My main job was working in editorial and esports. You did CS casting? Yeah. Yeah. I was also darn good at Counter-Strike. Still am okay. But we're here to talk about Critical Role. What did you think of Robbie basically saying he won't give us his backstory lore? Well, it was him saying, like, I think he really wants us to find out as he goes. That's what I think. I think he wants it to come out naturally rather than like force it or like spill it in the, you know, the post shows and stuff like that. That's my take. I think he has no problem like giving some backstory. I just think he's like, no, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And And if stuff doesn't happen or my character dies, then it dies, and like that's the mystery. I think that's normal. I've been doing it. Yeah, what's up, Famine? How you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm hoping for a cold open backstory on a single character again, and kind of like Bolaire's story. Yeah, I think that's fair, Shira. I'm for that, 100%. Hey, esports or sports? I think it makes you real sports. Sure. Yeah. You did CSK. Yeah, Aaron's already answered that. RP is fun to watch because they're good at it. Comment is less fun to watch because they're not good at it. Well, yeah. Push more, which again, there has been some, mostly from Brennan, where he gives a cool line and stuff like that. Some of the fun I have, though, and this is one of the reasons I love playing with new D&D players as a dungeon master. They do things that meta players, like veteran players, don't do. They take spells that they don't take. Like, I had new players and they chose spells nobody takes, and it was cool. It was cool. It was unique. They did stuff that other people don't do. They tried things that other people don't try. So sometimes I think it's cool when, like, Wick's like, this isn't the best spell I could take, but it's cool I can reflavor it to go with, like, the light and the Halavars and stuff like that. So, yeah. But I also agree, yes, there are mistakes and there are things like that. TikTok stream is glitching. Anybody else having a problem on the TikTok stream? CS gun, I mean, AK op, P250. Favorite Counter-Strike team, it would probably have been Complexity for a while, but they're not in anymore. I always try to support a North American team. Outside of that, I don't really know right now. I miss the old Solid Astralis. I'm not a giant fan of Vitality, but they're really good. Yeah. I suspect Cadigan's backstory didn't have much plot hooks, but more of like his inner monologue, stream of consciousness. I agree. Yeah. Well, I think there's probably some stuff there, but I don't think it's as directly like boom big stuff. I think it's more slow cooking, and I think he wants it to be. I think he wants it to be slow. I think he wants it to be like, let it happen more naturally versus like let's get it out. Let's get it into the game. Let's get it into the. And I'm okay with that because we're getting a lot of that from other people. So that's fine. Julian and Flashback Cold Open would be sick. Yes, but now that we're on the Seekers, I don't think we're getting his table stuff. Crumb says, I loved how Orem fought and described his actions. Yeah, that stuff's cool. I love that. I wish more people did that. Dinnerthran says, interesting thought that Azune brought up. Thaz being dead already and the death was staged. I don't know about that. The message he sent were pretty specific at the end. What are your thoughts on Glove? Yeah, so the Glyph thing was a huge reveal, guys. The whole where he was like, wait. He saw he saw that the other guy had to break the Glyph to use it. So he was like, oh yeah. So the Glyph should have been broken. Wait a second. The Glyph that we had given Thiazi, even though it was a fake apparently, it's not broken. Thiazi didn't even try to use it. So now it's like, why didn't he try to use it? What's going on? Like that sort of thing. I'm quite curious about that. I hate when players don't use meta tactics in combat, learn the game. If people make outright mistakes on their abilities, that irks me. I don't mind if people do something that isn't like the perfect play if they have a narrative reason for it. One, we all make mistakes, and we're not all thinking about as much as they are while they play probably. So I don't mind if like they could have moved the extra 5 feet to position better for the next round and they didn't. Fine. But like, again, completely misusing abilities, doing all that stuff like that. No. Not as big of a fan of that, but I don't mind that. And I don't mind people taking like non-meta spells or stuff that better fits their character and who they want their character to be. I like that. I think that allows way more freedom of choice in the game than being like, no, I have to pick these 3 spells because they're the best 3 spells. Which character are you all most interested in seeing fully fleshed out that we haven't gotten real time with yet? Personally, I'm super curious to learn more about Valus and Belair. Belair for sure. Julian is another one. Cadigan are the ones that immediately pop into my mind. Speedster says, I think my biggest problem right now is that I'm so confused because of the sort of randomness of the tables. It is a bit to keep up with. It is. And because we don't know the world, all these things and names are getting dropped, and we're like, what does that mean? Where's that? In my recap of the episode, I was like, and they said a place, and I was thinking, we don't know what that is. And then I said another thing, so we also don't know what that place is. And then I named it and said, don't know what that place is either. Like, there's just all these locations being dropped, and we know nothing about any of it. It's a lot. There's a lot. We are Seekers tonight, right? Yes. Well, it could be soldiers, right? Famine, it could be, but I hope I think it'll be schemers, but it could be soldiers for the cold open. We're gonna give the soldiers table in their downtime. I'm curious about that too. The traveling, maybe running into some of the people they ran into on the way there. Yeah. Grief flavor over meta. Dealing says, someone may have brought this up, but I think there's more to making paladins lawn ornaments. Paladins are essentially representatives of deities. Their power may be a tether to find that deity. There could be more to it. I thought that them becoming like sentries to detect the undead was super cool, but then somebody was like, wait, how do they pass on that information? Right? We see their eyes glow to detect, but you don't know if they see anything. So like, how does that work? Maybe not all of them are dead. The Cold War TTRPG, very true. Cat lost a child or caused somebody love to do child, right? That's all speculation. All speculation. Hey, Slice, thanks for the sub on Twitch. That's 2 years, brother. There's a little hype for you. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. If anybody else has a Prime sub sitting around or a regular sub, use that over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/NERDCOREGG. If you have a Prime sub, it's free. If you have Amazon Prime, then you have Twitch Prime for free. It's a free sub that helps me out. Or become a member here on YouTube. Right now, I only have 2 of them. Only 2. Be the 3rd. Oh, that reminds me, not to plug another thing. I'll do it in a minute because I don't want to do another. I'm going to read some more chat. You clearing 4.5 million views a month now? I don't think so. Definitely not on YouTube alone. My YouTube has fallen off quite a. So the December was, I think November, December were really good. No. October, November were really good for YouTube. My best months ever. Covering Critical Role, doing all that. Started to slip in November or December. And January's real rough on YouTube. But there might be some. Hey, Neo, thank you so much for that sub over on Twitch with the Prime. Appreciate that. I don't know if I've hit 4 total. Yeah, I've had that. I don't know. I'd have to calculate my total views from TikTok, my total views from Instagram, my total views for YouTube. I would say on average I get like 3 million views a month. There's been months where I probably hit 4.5, but not. I don't know that I did it the last month or the month before that, but yeah. And that includes shorts. That includes everything. Can you explain what Laura's doing wrong with one of Thimble's abilities? I can't remember what it was. So, she has said at a point, oh, I get advantage because of my rogue ability. Assuming she's talking about Rakish Audacity, that's not what that does. It gives her the ability to not have to have advantage or an ally next to an enemy to be able to gain sneak attack. It'll let you just solo sneak attack. She's given herself advantage from that. The other thing is she doesn't have, to our knowledge, nobody could seem to think of a way that she could, unless they just allowed her to or something, have 2-weapon fighting. But she adds her damage, her attribute bonus damage, or +5 from her dex, to her offhand damage anyway. And she's not supposed to do that. If you don't have 2-weapon fighting, you don't get to add your stat damage to it. It would just be the dice roll. But she's been doing that. So if you attack 5 times with your offhand, you hit all 5 times, +5 each time, 25 extra damage you're not supposed to be doing. So that's what it is. Yeah. To answer that question. Instead of getting sneak attack in 1 without advantage, she has just been getting advantage in 1v1s. Yeah, but then sneak attacking, if it still does hit. Theology Fang didn't break the glyph because he'll be the Obi-Wan of campaign 4. John, that could be it. There's definitely some sort of war being fought on another planet. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up, so we're going fast. I think it's just totally plausible that the Aussie was ready to die to continue to fight in the next plane. Perhaps. But he saw the Falcon, he looked up, he looked kind of surprised, and then it happened. When Wick took Tough, didn't that fit? Didn't think that fit Tough. I think it fits in terms of he needs more HP. And I think at that moment, he wanted more HP. Because he was like about to go down. But that's why I said this initially. I was like, when you let them do them in moments, it's cool, but it also leans towards them having to take one in a moment that is going to be probably more defensive. We saw him take Tough because he was getting the crap beat out of him. We saw Thimble take Durable because death saves. Right? Like, now it does fit with the whole desperate measures. That'll help her with that. But it was because she was getting low, I think. And so you end up having people take things. You're like, oh, crap, I'm going to die. And so they take a feat that leans defensive instead of, you know, like Mage Slayer or some other ones. So that's my take. Sam jokes about not having a map. Yep, I remember that. We watch you and figure out the lore. It's exciting times. Yep. What said some of the games in last week? Father Tyranny confirmed it for me. Brendan walked back his vestige comment about the knife, which kind of sucks. Well, so it was that he was trying to say like it's not connected to Exandria. That's not what that meant, is what he was saying. It was like there is something like it's going to sort of level up or gain a power as she learns something, but it has nothing to do with vestiges. It is not tied to Exandria. Mitchell says, what do you think of the tyranny possessed Armas theory? I'm not with it at all, and I would hate it if it came to be. I don't like that one at all. December and January are slow for everyone on YouTube. Well, yeah, I mean, my views dropped, the money, it all dropped. But again, even some of my Critical Role stuff just didn't do very well, unfortunately. Like not that I'm as big as other people with Critical Role, but there was a significant drop off in views, even on my Critical Role stuff. I'd have a video get like 10K, 15K, and then all of a sudden I'd post a Critical Role video, would get like 1,000, and I'm like, where'd everybody go? It is what it is. Your LinkedIn says, yeah, there was probably a month where I hit that. Yeah, like I said, I'm sure I've gotten it before. I just couldn't tell you if I've done something right now, or the last time I did. Okay, I said averaging 4.5. Yeah, so I guess I did. 2 months ago, I was averaging 4.5 million views a month. So again, but that's the average. So at a sub month, I probably got 6 million. Then other months I got 3.5, and it averages out to 4.5 million views a month. But that's across all 3 platforms, including shorts and long views. I'm sure the 3 weeks off from Zero didn't help. No, it didn't, Batson. Not at all. Also, welcome in, dude. Good to see you. Daniel says, I'm so excited to finally have a divination wizard in CR, my favorite class on the. I also think Murray's style of magic is very cool. I'm looking forward to how she's going to be doing that. Her style of magic is very cool. Armas and Tyranny were both at the same place at one point. Exactly. And so I'm not with that at all. So we don't know how Theozy actually died then. Well, no, it seems like he died from being the hanging. Like yeah, that's how he died, seemingly. What if Theozy is undead now? It's completely possible he's in the underworld. Dan Higgs says, Taylor wanted to use detect magic, but it was Brennan that made the moment narratively. I agree. He was just like, I level up and detect magic. And then Brennan turned it into this really cool moment. I think Tyranny talked about the meeting at House Circus, like she was there too at emergency. Yeah, she basically said they were at like the same show or something like that. Yes, Daniel, exactly. He was likening it to how a vestige worked mechanically, and then he had to come back and be like, but I'm not saying they're tied. It is not a vestige. That's just a way for the critters to understand it, which then the critters took and were like, oh my God, it's a vestige. I love Tyranny so much. I really don't want her to be that other character or whatever people think is happening. I don't think there's any real like legitimacy to that thing now. Like that idea now, I don't think so. So tonight's table is Matt, Alex, Ashley, and Abria. Yes, with the NPC Aranessa. Connor says, if you took a shot every time Brendan said the hangman's noose in relation to Theozy, you'd be in trouble. The soul battery could be a pull to charge up undead. Image somehow is. She looks different and doesn't seem to have any memory of being the same person, so she's not really the same person anymore. Agree. I like players declaring what they're taking at next level way before leveling up so they can RP earning the powers either by practicing or studying. Yeah, they can still RP some of that as they go. Or like right before that moment, kind of lean into it if they have an idea from their options. Read something into the reaction that wasn't there. Yeah, exactly. I think that they were excited just because like they understand the idea. No, wrong there, yeesh. Well, no. Again, we're all assuming that when he said it's similar to a vestige, that it's like an item that's going to be that powerful. All he meant, and he said this, all he meant was it's going to gain a power at some point or has the potential to as she learns more about the world. That could just be at some point it unlocks and becomes a +1 sword with a D6 fire. That's all it could be, right? It could be super simple. He just meant at some point it will level up. It's not gonna, he didn't say it's gonna have 3 tiers and it's gonna become this, it's not from the gods or anything like that. That's all people speculating and hoping and dreaming. Yeah. So a demon has, I already read that. I appreciate Tyranny performance and understanding character decisions, but when she started being so annoying when mad at Wick, it was hard to watch, not gonna lie. I guess that's good acting. Yeah, I also wasn't a giant fan. Yo, code Red Omega with a Prime sub on Twitch. I appreciate it, man. I'll give you a little hype on the chat over there. Thank you. Again, if anybody has a Prime sub, feel free on Twitch, twitch.tv/NerdCoreGG. If you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, and you can subscribe for free. And it gets me about $1.70. I said it earlier, Bats, and we had a little bit of a discussion on it. I didn't love that scene either. I didn't. Like, items still cool and something to be excited about, even if it's not a tie-in. Agreed. There's dialogue that Tyranny and the girlfriend met each other while Wick was there. Yep, Dr. Caliban, welcome in, dude. Theozy's soul and Julian's father's soul could be captured in the soul battery and reformed into powerful undead that they have to fight. That could be unique. That would be interesting if they like run into them in the underworld and have to like release them. Denethrin says, been thinking about the paint in the coffin lately. Ways to fight the coming undead invasion, anti-undead paint for the theater, coffin open a portal to get help or to get the underworld. I think the paint is going to be something like that. I definitely think there's magical quality to the paint and it has some sort of protection or something. Something is going to have to do with that. The coffin I'm less sure about. It could have been to trap the mask. It could have been to trap Belair. Tyra's steering me by fighting herself in this new existence is going to be cool. I agree, Jason. I think it will be cool. She's just genuinely trying her best, and I love that about her. Late to show, playing catch-up reading chat. Hey, welcome in, Code Red. Happy to have you, dude. Pain Coffin, remind me. Remember, when he was getting ready to be killed, executed, the Aussie was like, Belair has pain for you, and help Murray at the Penteveral, and like he said all these things. And then Belair brought paint to the theater where they were at, where Hal and Taisha and whatever were at with their kids. The coffin was the thing that the box that they found upstairs at like the end of episode 1, and then Taisha touched it and like went unconscious and this mist came out of it. Then they discovered it was the coffin to Obalad, who is basically the halfling angel of death. Yeah, I think I got that right. And it had like old celestial writing on it and stuff like that. Is there any character dynamics that you haven't seen in the campaign yet that you would like to see in the future? Like certain characters interacting? I'm trying to think. More Julian and Tayor. We had a brief, Julian and Cadigan, maybe. Because they're very different. Very different in how they approach things, and yet very similar. Kind of distant, whatever, but Cadigan's warming up a little bit, so I don't know. That's a good question, Mitch. I'd have to think about that a little bit more, maybe. I think the Aussie stole the coffin to interfere with the plans of the houses because they needed to privatize Genova for some reason. Yeah, it could be that it was just stolen for that purpose. First thing, I'm super excited to see how it plays out. I'm beep for legendary items once they're growing power with the characters. Second point, I also wasn't wowed by Tyranny's puppy thing. It felt odd. We had a whole thing about it earlier. I was like, what was she even talking about? And then people were like, oh, well, like Wulfric was told to protect Wick. So, and I'm like, she turned herself into a dog and did that whole thing because Cadigan told Wulfric to protect Wick. Like it felt very forced and out of nowhere, to me personally. Did Belair cast Detect Magic? Also, do we buy that the Aussie didn't like Belair? Did Belair? Oh, I wish I knew the answer to that because they rolled, Hal rolled a nat 1 on his insight. So we have no idea if Belair made all of that up or if like there really was this sort of forced relationship between Thiazi and Belair because Thiazi was like, I will tell people what you are if you don't do this stuff for me. I'm very curious about that. Do you think it's a possibility that any of the gods are still alive or in hiding? I will say it's a possibility. Maybe one of them is. I don't want them to be. That's my take. I think it's possible that one may still be alive in like a weakened state or something like that. I hope it's no more than one. 2 max. But I don't think I want that. Dog thing. The conceiver, she would have thrown that out for some fan service to some critters. Maybe, but yeah, I didn't love it. Cadigan and Vegas would be a good dynamic. They are both seemingly lonely and deeply flawed people who do have good in their hearts despite it. I don't. Is Velas deeply flawed, or was she just hurt? Because she was so close to her god and she lost other loved ones and stuff like that, having to kind of turn against. Yeah, but everybody's flawed, so I guess you can consider that like deeply flawed in a way. Yeah. Reed says, I 100% think that there is at least 1 or 2 gods in hiding. Well, 2 maximum. That's all I'll allow. More Aranessa and Thimble and Murray and Tierney interactions. Yeah, I'd like to. Murray interacting with just about anybody could be enjoyable. The paint could be used for ritualistic magic. Other than that, Insane Angel, maybe they're worse out there, more malevolent. A lot of the gods are dead. There is a power vacuum now. She's just because she wants to lick his chest. It's because of the lay on hands thing and Wulfric. I think Belair was lying about the Aussie. Yep. I think it's very possible. The Ranger nature-loving character meeting Octus was extremely unnatural. I wonder what the draw to an unnatural devil and tyranny is. Gods overplayed. Yeah, that's how I've said it from the start when people kept bringing up like, oh, the gods, they're all going to become gods. I really hope not. I see, like, that's so common. It's so wildly common that I truly hope not. Jutao, she became to the funeral like that to argue. Well, she came to take her stuff back. But she was very firm. She wasn't a very big people person for sure. It's the oldest one that has the most room for flaws, but also having had the most growth. Fair. A Julian Thimble interaction would be interesting, especially now that he has the same desire for revenge as she has. Yes, they had some, and it wasn't very positive, but maybe a little bit of growth. Now, that thing I was going to mention earlier. So I've come up with an idea here. I'm also realizing that. Oh no, I had just already loaded this. I think that I wanted something unique to put on my Patreon for Critical Role people, or a reason to subscribe, to be point blank, like some value to add. So I think I'm going to create highlight videos and put them on my Patreon. Any subscription tier other than free, it's like $3 for the cheap one, and I'm going to put what I think are the highlights of every episode. Every episode, I'm going to go in and I'm going to clip anywhere from freaking, if the episode is fantastic, freaking 10, 15 different of the best moments, the funny moments, the good one-liners and stuff. I'm going to clip them all together and put them in a video. I am committing to doing that for now. So if you want those, if you want the highlight reels that I'm going to put together from every single episode, my Patreon is linked down below. And I'm going to start doing that as a way to add value to my Patreon. I'll throw the link in the chat. And and get some more folks. So there's other stuff over there too that is value. You know, it's you can get. I have a whole system for downtime actions. There's some homebrew items. I have some maps that I made that are over there. So there's other stuff. A lot of it free too. But you can't paywall their content per their content policy. Well, would that be doing the same? Like, I'm not putting their content. It's like clips, which I think tons of people do. But I'll look into it. Eugenie, maybe you're right. Maybe I can't even like make a compilation or do something like that. I'll have to look into it. I mean, if I made it my own, I think it would probably be fine. Like if I added dialogue instead of just clipping it all together, I said like, here's why I love this moment. This happened, right? Make it a little more reactionary. Maybe that'd be fine. But I know other people do where they just do like bonus content where they just like, here are my bonus thoughts. Here are the other things I thought about it. I just didn't know if like people cared enough about what I think about random stuff to do that. So I wanted to have something else of value. Put them individually on shorts with reaction. So the problem, Jay, I put most of my stuff out there and I just hope that it will do well enough in views to make money. The problem is that so much of it, like making money on shorts is very hard. You need to be getting hundreds of thousands on every single short. I need to find better ways to have consistency, which is where subscriptions come in. Subscriptions on Twitch, memberships on YouTube, patrons on my Patreon. Those are more consistent. Those are monthly, like, okay, I'm going to get this much and that much. So that's why. Oh, yo, what's up, Mr. Malicious? So I'm trying to provide value, right? I'm trying to provide reasons that people will want to do that. I'm not just saying, go do it. It's like, hopefully you'll get this out of that. Here's some cool thing that I'm going to put time and energy into to make, but I'm going to put it behind this $3 a month, right? That's literally less than a cup of coffee. That's $4 to get a cup of coffee at the shop up here. $3 a month for the cheap thing. But I'm just, I'm trying to do this full time. I've been doing it for a bit and I'm trying to be able to continue to do it. So I'm trying to find ways to do it without just hoping. I'm trying to put action and ideas and content and effort to those sorts of things, which is why, I have 2 members here on YouTube. I really appreciate it. There's been some super chats. Those are also helpful. I really appreciate that. You guys watching my videos, also incredibly helpful. Really appreciate that. All of that stuff helps. But all right, back to the critical role. The last thing Julian and Thimble did was when he grabbed her wings. Exactly. So like there's a little bit of confrontation when it comes to all that. Yeah, Anti-Immortals to God's here. That's got to be where Exandria heads next. Yeah, probably. I try to be here every week and watch as many others as I can. I appreciate it, Reed. No, that's awesome, man. I mean, all that stuff helps. It's just so inconsistent, which is why I'm looking for just a little bit more of a baseline when it comes to stuff like that. So, yeah. A venue for fan art, other creators who are going unnoticed and underappreciated. Maybe reach out to creators and collab. Just thought, yeah, sure. I'm open to ideas. When it comes to stuff like that. Hey, Famine, thank you so much for becoming a member on YouTube. You are member number 3. We now have 3 members on YouTube. We had, thanks to oh my God, Daniel. Thanks to Daniel, last month we had 6 because he gifted 5, but then they ran out. But we have 3 actual members right now. Are you doing this full time now? I am. Again, I want to keep this on Critical Role, so I'm trying not to have too much of this the side talk, but I'm doing it in a way that I am able to live my life. I am not doing it in a way that has any sort of future, if that makes sense. I don't make enough to get good health insurance. I don't make enough to put money away in my 401k. I make enough to pay my bills and feed myself, which is great for what I'm doing, but I'm also 34. And I can't just always make us enough to only pay my bills and feed myself. I need to have some sort of idea of future. But for doing this for the short amount of time I've been doing it, and I've been grinding, I've been doing tons of deals, like partnerships and sponsorships and grinding TikTok and doing some TikTok shop and putting out YouTube videos. Like I'm trying my darndest. But I need to consistently make a bit more than I do. And so I'm trying to kind of get that baseline at memberships and patrons and things like that. Yeah. We the island of misfit crits.
Mitchell says, I like how as soon as Matt became a PC, he made himself the most mean character possible. Maybe he did that to try to dissuade people from trying to romance him. I don't think he did it for that reason. I just think he thought of a cool character idea. I don't think there was that much depth in terms of like him thinking about, oh, I'm going to be a mean person. I think it was truly him just having an idea for a character in the world when stuff was told to him. And I think that he just ran with it. He was like, oh, this stuff is happening. Here's my idea. I want to be this sort of like, I'm going to go through a character arc where I'm not very liked. And I did something that most people in this group aren't going to have agreed with. And I'm going to have my own reasons. And not everybody's going to know those reasons. And there's going to be some secrets. And then I'm going to go through a character arc, should my character survive, to become more well-liked. And then maybe at the end, I'll be somebody different. Or at the end, I'll end up just reverting to the a-hole I was. And I am thrilled to see where he takes it. Respect the hustle. Thank you, Batson. Hello, Mischief. Get gifted a month ago and it ran out. I'm going to be watching these basically every week. And as a small gaming creator, I understand how much. So great. Hey, I appreciate it, fam. Thank you. Hire an editor. You could. No, not even close. Like maybe there are some cheap editors out there, but I have had people email me be like, I'll be your editor. And I'm like, what are we talking about? And it's wildly expensive. Wildly expensive. Also, 1,000 views, 2,000, 3,000 views on a YouTube video ain't that much money, guys. Like some of my videos, we're talking like it makes $5. Like it's not a lot. You need to be posting like if I posted 4 or 5 videos a week and they all got like 10,000, which is still not a lot, that would be that would be decent, right? Like I'd make decent money there. But I need all 5 every week to make that many views, 2,000 views, and they don't. I get videos 1,000, 3,000, 1,000, stuff like that, which is fine. I'm still going. We're still grinding. Madden's PC is awesome. He knows how to play with a I agree. No, he's doing a great job at it. And so that's another thing. I want to see how he progresses now, right? Now we get more of him. Now we get table 3-4 hours of Matt progressing his character. We get to see how he's going to act, react, interact. All that stuff is super dope. I'm really excited to see how Matt is going to be moving forward with Julian. And, are we going to get a moment where he unpacks what he saw? Because, we haven't really. Because they just immediately were like, okay, this stuff happened. They had to leave town. They left town. They've been traveling. And we've been kind of cutting to them as they were traveling, and they're not really getting full scenes. But is he going to have a breakdown moment where he's like, holy crap, no, like my dad, who I was finally going to try to like make amends with, who came out and called my name with his last words. I just saw his skull get ripped out of his head by this powerful house. I was unable to get revenge immediately, right? Those are all... is he going to snap? Is he going to open up about it? Is he going to do all that? Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Good luck on your journey. Maybe you can make videos better than you should watch if you're a fan of it. Yeah, I have posted stuff about other things, not necessarily like actual plays, but I'll post a video here and there about something different. I definitely do it in the short form. I posted something today about all the Fable news we got today. I posted something about a Dungeons and Dragons Fortnite collab, if you guys didn't know. But long form, I've only done a couple that weren't that. I did like a Captain America one. I did something else. Yeah. There's something fishy with how he... Yes. So that whole thing with Azune, I am very intrigued by that, but Azune and Julian aren't in the same group right now. So we're not going to get to learn more about that unless there's some sort of cold open or something. Because Azune's whole spiel about, hey, if you do this or whatever, I'll tell your story when it comes up. If anything comes, I'll tell the story that you want me to tell about Thiazi and you. So what's the real story? What's the real story about Thiazi and Julian? Were they lovers? Cautiously hyped for new Fable. Me too. The one thing I heard that was a little disappointing, not to sidetrack us, is apparently they're still going to have the morality thing where you do good stuff, bad stuff. It's not going to impact your appearance anymore. Videos about your own campaigns would be great also. They would not do well in the slightest. Not enough people care about some random dude's home game. Reed says, which reminds me, what do y'all think was up with that party setup? Was the long game of their houses? Oh, 100%. They, like, the whole thing about like the Royces being destroyed, they're covering it up. That's a cover up. The party's a cover up where they're going, oh, look, they said goodbye and left. They threw a party and put up a banner saying, we're leaving, bye-bye, because they don't want people to know that the Royces are dead. It's just like, it's like taking somebody out and then leaving a note that says, like, I've left for good, don't come after me. That's basically what that was. Wait, new Fable? Now, yo, this is a brand new Fable. It's going to launch later this year, the autumn 2026. And it's going crazy. Again, not trying to take things away from Critical Role, because that's what we talk about. But they did, like, not only can you get married like you could in other ones, you can have children in this game. You can get a job. You can hire people. You can buy multiple houses and rent those houses to people and evict people from those houses. Am I the only one who got jealous about the Aussie's relationship with Aranessa vibes from Julian? 100%. I think that's possible. Yeah, and I'm curious about that, Mitchell, because Julian and Aranessa had this tight friendship, but then also she's in the middle of like this dynamic where they seem to like really not like each other, and he helped bring him down and all this sort of stuff. So sorry for sidetrack. No, you're fine, Roma. You're totally fine. People learning to play old to be interested. Everyone wants to hear opinions from people with experience. Just as somebody who has done some random videos like that, or tried to put some stuff out with stuff like that, and also seen the plethora of people who have also tried, they just won't do as, and then they'll hurt the algorithm. YouTube will be like, whoa, people don't like that, and then they'll like, it's always a risk when you're doing anything like this. And content creation. Hey, thank you so much for that membership. Is it Ale Curse? Because at first I read it as Alec. Is it Alec or Ale? Thank you so much for that membership, man. Membership number 4. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Do you know if Belair is just the mass consciousness, or is it like a host symbiotic relationship? Like if he went to another person, would his abilities change? No, we don't know, but I don't think that would be the case. I think it is the mask, and the body is just how he moves it around. I do not believe a different body grants him different abilities. That would be so much to keep up with. It'd be cool, but it'd be so much to keep up with, and like body swapping and stuff, and that would just be kind of strange. So yeah. I never viewed that connection. I thought she was technically Julian's stepmom now. Yeah, no, Aranessa is Julian's childhood friend. And she married Thiazi, who was not, sorry, I started to read another comment and forgot. Thiazi, who was not Julian's father. Hey, it's actually an abbreviation for Alexandra, but I know it sounds like no, okay. So it's like Ali Curse would be your name. Like Ali Curse. It's Alexandra. Well, thank you very much either way. I really appreciate that membership. Thimble loved Thiazi. He betrays her and becomes a massive reborn evil guy, thus fulfilling the Liar's Blade. Jay with a wild prediction. Friends, there would be some unrequited love there. I think Thiazi was a good guy who just made some mistakes and lost control of the situation due to factors he was unaware of. So on the whole friend thing, I do think Julian is. I think Julian has feelings for Aranessa. Do I know? No. Do I feel like he does? Yes. That's my take on that. I do think that he has feelings. Good content. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Allie. But yeah, Thiazi getting all the ladies. Aranessa, Thimble even got Taisha to leave How to become a druid in order to serve the rebellion. Did he get that to happen? Like, do we know that? I don't remember that. That like he got Taisha to leave to become a druid to serve the rebellion. Still feel like the Aussies arc one BBG. I could see it, but I don't think so, but I could see it. I also continue to love every single week the number of ways I see Theozzy spelled. I haven't seen that one before, Famin. That is a brand new way to spell Theozzy. That is a brand new. I've seen, it's got to be 20 different ways at this point. And number 21, maybe the best one yet. Maybe the best one yet. I missed out on friend part. I thought she and his dad got together after divorce from Theozzy. She and his dad got together. Yeah, no. Thimble was gifted to him just saying. Yeah. Which was a really cool scene. I really enjoyed that scene. Julian also probably feels he has a duty to what remains. Oh, there's that too. Yeah, a childhood friend. He's part of the vassal house to House Royce, and Aranessa may be the only person left from that house. So yeah, there's a lot of commitment there now. I can't spell it right ever. No, it's not a knock on anybody, because anybody who hasn't read it and seen that it's THJAZI, you're just like, Theozzy, how the heck am I gonna say that? And then people just like type it or they try. So there's no knock at all, but it's fun. There's been like in a single pre-show, you will see it spelled 10 different ways. Every pre-show. Yikes. Theozzy. Steve Irwin. Theozzy. Call him Brother Fang. No, it's totally fine. Again, Famine, everybody does. Like, you see people misspell his name more in these chats than they spell it correctly. So it's totally fine. There's no judgment. There's no judgment. Yours was just really, really solid. It was almost like a Theozzy, you know? It's like Theozzy, but it was like a Theozzy, you know? Oh, the whole Dalmakiar thing being right after his whole doll shoemaker, that was hilarious. Apparently completely unrelated and just coincidence. But Dalmakiar, doll maker, being so similar was interesting. Phone keyboard like screw me over. Yeah, for sure. Mitchell says everyone is like Thimble, doesn't know how to spell it, so just went with Thaz. The Aussie, exactly, Stacy, exactly. Welcome in, Stacy. I can't even spell my own name most days. Well, David, that's a problem. Coincidence, Freud, methinks. Jay's on all sorts of conspiracies right now. No, that is funny though. All right, so what do we think the Seekers are doing tonight? Last we saw them, in the last episode, they were making their way through an old road, after they'd been in the Devalmar Pass for a while, and they had seen that holy site that had been covered up by statues and lanterns and stuff. We learned about like Tahana and Trezana or something, which were like the primordial and the earth dude and something. And we learned that there are people there that are like still really longing for the gods, with the whole like come back and all that sort of stuff. So what do we think they will be actively doing this evening? Oh, and they were heading to the home of the Sundered Houses, right? That was the last thing we were left with, was that they were heading to, I think it was called Helvar, I think. Boom, 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 boom. I got it in my notes. Let me pull up my notes. Scroll down, episode 11. Yeah, heading to Helvar, the birthplace of the Sundered Houses. There was Tihana, the primordial earth, and then Tihana was the wife of Trosna, the Titan of Earth. And we don't know what any of that means, chat. Okay, I want you to remember that. We have no idea what any of that means. Isn't that fun? We think Seekers are going to be less combative and more talking, like soldiers are the fighters, schemers are the back alley dealers, Seekers are going to be the mostly talkers. I don't know, because like we still saw talking and all that sort of stuff with the soldiers, and if we're going to get very little combat with the Seekers, there's still got to be a middle ground. Well, there's not two L's in it, Jay, but I mean, I see what you're going for there. I'm pretty sure I wrote it down as it was written in the captions. If you guys didn't know, well, I don't know. If you don't have Beacon, I guess I don't know if you can get the captions like that. But I watch it with captions that way I can get the names and spellings correct. I think Seeker be a mix. Even from base meaning, it could be combat or exploration or talking like a name like Seeker. Yeah, I hope we get a good amount of interactions with the players as well as with an NPC or two. And I hope they learn some stuff. Because I still feel like we're still very much, because it's a brand new world, brand new campaign, we still have so many things we need to learn more about. Like a ton. I think we will get at least one combat this episode. I could see that. I need a map. Not that I'll use it, but someone will use it and it will make the world more alive and knowable. I agree. In my when I was watching the tailgate and I was in Beacon asking question, my question just kept being like, when are we getting a map? When are we getting a map? And people kept interacting with it, but they never asked that question. Because they spent an hour asking pre-written questions from staff. Which were still good questions. Danny did a great job. But yeah, we want a map, man. Like, where's the map? Jay is going to have such a long list of random words that he can pull out of the names of things in this campaign. How is the Beacon app? It'd be such a quick purchase, but I've seen so much about the civilian user experience. Hey, Daniel with another $5 super chat. It's so weird. Sometimes there it is. Actually, it did appear over here. For a while, they weren't appearing. Super chats weren't here. I had to actually look at the YouTube chat. I'm going to come back to that, Mr. Malicious. Give me 1 second. Daniel says Seekers are probably going to be doing more investigating ruins and interpreting inscriptions. That's essentially what they are there to do. I love that idea. I hope they are doing that. But I feel like we already knew that they were heading there. One for the sun, one to figure out what happened to the Royces because of the caravan being stopped in the Devalmar Pass. So I feel like they have goals, and the goals aren't investigate ruins, interpreting inscriptions, but I hope that they do that. I agree with that. And thank you once again, Daniel. I really appreciate the super chats, man. I really do. Thank you for doing those. For the Beacon app, I don't know how good the Beacon app is. I watch it on computer. So I get my laptop, which is behind my head, and I take an HDMI cord and I run it to my TV, and I just do that. And then I load it up and watch from there. The actual app, I have it on my phone, but I don't watch on my phone. But yeah, I know that they made some improvements to it recently, or at least we're talking about doing that. So if anybody else has the app and wants to speak on whether or not it's good or anything like that, feel free. But yeah, they just pre-selected. No, the first hour, Connor, the first hour were questions from Lore Keeper Danny, who did a great job with the questions. The last 30 minutes, when they took it off of Twitch and YouTube and went only to Beacon, then they were answering some questions from the Beacon Discord. Going to the Storm Rack. I don't know that they're going to the Storm Rack. I'd love to learn more about the Storm Rack. I'm excited for that. But I think it's in the same direction. I think it might be in the same direction. So they might end up there, but they were going to figure out what the visions were, I thought. Leighton Lurkin, what's up, Bach? Welcome in, welcome in. The Seekers feel like they are going to be fighting monster manual creatures, and soldiers are going to be fighting NPCs. Maybe. We had a whole conversation about that earlier. A lot of people weren't looking forward to monster fights. I think that they can be done in a way that still keep the story important, and it's not just like, okay, there's a random monster on the road and now it's stopping us from moving the story forward and stuff. So we'll see how that works. But I think moving through the era they are, that it's completely possible that they end up fighting something that isn't just another person. Geeky says the app kind of sucks. Casting sucks. You guys don't leave the app, you lose your place. No TV app yet. Yeah, I know they have the casting. I don't know if I can cast to my TV, which is what I just do my laptop. I love the Beacon. So then the flip side, Connor says, I love the Beacon app. Never experienced any issues that a quick refresh wouldn't fix. I like that I can use it to AirPlay to my TV. Very curious on how Aradessa will make the possible death of her brother when the Seekers and soldiers reconnected with the temple and Taylor found the bracers. Well, she might find out before they find out about the bracers. Depending on if she just learns, gains information and stuff. But also, yeah, I'm with that, Mitchell. I am also intrigued by that. They're just meant read by her. No. She created those questions, yeah. Do I just worry about these dang old kids came and chest around my jank entertainment shelf? Fair enough. Who was Tayor with when he started? You mean his like captain? Sunken Train? Also, I'm just now realizing you moved to YouTube over TikTok. Oh, but I haven't said once tonight. If you guys aren't already subscribed to my YouTube, like a normal subscribe, I'm not talking about like a membership. I'm talking about just, click the red button that says subscribe. Do that if you're on YouTube. Also, click the thumbs up button and double tap the screen if you're on TikTok. Her name is escaping me, but the old captain of the Torn Banner. She's going to be in my notes if I go up. I'd have to try to find Torn. No, not there. I don't remember her name in the overture. I know exactly who you're talking about. I just don't remember her name. Laura Blade. Yeah, the captain. There it is. Thank you, Mitchell. Yeah, I knew if something like Blade was in there. Which, hey guys. Hey, thanks for the sub, Sunken. If it was Miss Blade, you guys know what Oris's name was? With the schemers in the tavern, the merchant company with the ceramics? Oris Blade. Connection? Yeah, Loza Blade. Loza Blade. Thinks this Brendan is raising the stakes for this campaign. It would be fun to do a poll or something on who chat thinks might die. Almost get murdered in a conversation. Very true. What's up, Magatch? Loza Blade. Yeah, that's fair. How do I send you the fan map? Is there a fan map? You're not in the Discord, are you? I don't know. Discord would be the easiest way, because there's no like messaging on YouTube or anything like that. Maybe not for sure. Oh, that's true. He did say it was that, and because he gave like the 2 or 3 examples that are common there. But I thought it just meant like those. I thought it, not that they were common, but that like those were the big names there. But I guess, yeah, you guys are right. There's probably more like they're common, like people have them a lot. They're not super, and maybe that was why he pointed it out, was to be like there might not be a relation between these two things. But here I am like, oh. Yeah. Did you mean like do the poll, Roma, about like who might die in the chat now, or did you just mean like do a poll somewhere about it? Fang Claw Blade, yeah. Don't forget to drop back and give a like on the video. Hey, let's go, Jason. Oh yeah, I'll say the Discord again, guys. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, we have a whole section dedicated to Critical Role in there. We have a Critical Role campaign for a live chat. So like when I shut this down, people from here typically move over to there and just talk in the Discord chat about what's happening in the show. We watch it live and type about it there. So if you want to join, it's linked to the description on YouTube. Go down there. Discord is down there. Join the Discord, and you can jump on that and join those conversations and hang out with us. There's also a Dungeons and Dragons section with, like, you know, all that sort of stuff. I post my videos and things like that in there. So, version of the surname Smith. Got it. Chrome says, I sent a fan map in the Discord. Okay. Interesting. I wonder how accurate that is. Fang, not dang. Yeah. Yeah, I could throw a quick poll up just for funsies right now. I can only put 4 options up there, though. So I'm just going to say this. We're just going to say someone from the Seekers dies. Who? Julian, Taisha, Valus, and Octus. All right, we got a poll on a YouTube. If someone does die from Seekers, who do you think it will be? Option 1, Julian. Option 2, Taisha. Option 3, Valus. Option 4, Octus. Again, for real. Go ahead and cast your vote on who you think may die when it comes to that. Also, now that we've been at this for a while, do you guys think I should lose the overlay? Like the NERDCORE pre-show, all that? Like, I kind of like it and it makes it my own, but I'm also just like, I could just have my camera. Like, I don't know, random thought that I just had. Yeah, I don't know. Share your thoughts. Also, vote in the poll. I mean, the countdown could stay. It's just more so like all of this. I thought it would add branding and make it seem all official and stuff, but I don't know. It's a vibe. It's fine. Maybe smaller. I dig either. No, keep the branding up. Okay, that's where I was kind of going with this stuff. Is branding. Leave chat skip over. It looks cleaner. I do agree. It does look cleaner with everything off, but it also is just like me sitting on camera. I wanted it to feel more like a pre-show, like a real pre-show, and not just like me getting on the camera and sitting here and talking for 2 hours, which is what it is anyway. But, you know, I tried to legitimize it a little bit. Ever notice it? You didn't notice all this? Even though I started to take the dash out in my thumbnail, because you can do pre-show either way, and I started to take it out, but then this was in the overlay, so that doesn't make much difference to me. Yeah, I don't think it's a game breaker, but part of me is like, is that why I get a third of the views as others? Is it because I have an overlay? All right, let's see what the poll's doing it. Yeah, I have the episode number coming up, the countdown in the corner, all that stuff, David. You didn't notice anything. Guten Tag. Yo, what is up, Yanso? All right, so as of right now, if someone does die from the Seekers, most people think it would be Taisha, but it's not by a very large margin. Octus is up next. There's been 35 votes. Taisha has 37%. And Octus has 29%. I like it personally. Okay, cool. Yeah, so basically it's people saying, I don't care. I think there was one person who was like, I'd get rid of it, or it's cleaner without it. And then everybody else was saying like they like it. So I guess we'll keep it for now. Foreign offline dev in 10 years. And so what does that mean? Hey, Jaden the Bard, dude, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, hey man, love your videos. I found you when I started watching Campaign 4 and been a fan since. That I really appreciate that, Jaden. Really, really, really do, man. Thank you for the $5 super chat and for the kind words. Critical Role Campaign 4 has helped me grow a lot. Like it has. It's done a lot for the YouTube. It's done a lot for community. So really appreciate that. It looks like somebody did join the Discord. Throden Cathar, welcome in. And we talk about, like I said, we talk about Critical Role, we talk about Dungeons and Dragons in the Discord, everything. But I'm really glad that it has been helpful to you, Jaden, and that you have gotten a value out of my videos. And thank you again for that super chat. Watch on phone while working. That's fair, David. Yeah, it is. It is a smaller screen. You are an internet IP dev in France and the Netherlands. All right, Yansa, you just came in swinging, brother. I'm just confused. What are we talking about? I'm throwing an A. Very nice. Famine, heck yeah. If you have simple channel logo, you could put on the 20. Yeah, I thought about that. So I could put, like, I could shrink. What am I doing? Why can't I move my arm the way that I want to move it? I could shrink this and move that onto the center of the die. But I don't know that would take it away from this corner. I would probably still leave it there. I don't know. Just one other guy, dude. No, I'm with it. It was just, we're like, hey, listen, we're talking about Critical Role, we're talking about whatever. They're just like, hello, IP dev. It's just like, what? Like, well, welcome. I mean, happy to have you. I was just super confused. You said hello, and then you just said foreign offline dev in 10 years. I didn't know what the relation was. Ty, but because Brie and Brennan have such a good relationship, I should be the first one to die out of respect. Out of respect? All right, smile. You asked what's up. Oh, okay. Fair enough, dude. You got me. Solid one, but most undead, like most of that, he can be killed. Oh, he can definitely be killed. Like a NC in your, oh, just NC in there. Yeah, that could be cool, Famine. So I answered, that's fair, Yonso. I got you, dude. I got you. All right, so we're still, Ty's still in the lead, but lost 1%. 36 to 27. Jamie says, oh, I am still stuck on Baelis's battle and surrounded by little imps or something small, and although she had a decent sized hit points, she didn't do any damage, and I think that could be her undoing. Well, I don't remember how successful she was in that fight, but I also remember that, yeah, I mean, she's a pally in 2024 pallies, so it's not like she can just smite every attack. They're relatively low level, which means you run out of smites very quickly. Yeah, but she was very good in the other fight, like in the fight with whatchamacallit, at the tavern, the Crow's Keeper's place. She did really well in that fight. So we'll just have to see how things play out. I mean, Ashley is not notorious for being the best combatant. But, you know, you hit a good smite here and there, and, you know, Paladin's got some power. Now, I love 2024 Paladin. So seeing them in this is great, because in 2024, you're not tied to, hey, Jay has joined the Discord. You are not tied to only being able to do, like, oh, I can attack or I can lay on hands. You can do both. And I think that's fantastic. Not having to give up your turn to be able to, like, heal yourself for 10 or to heal an ally, like, it's very good. And I think it's a good balance to the not being able to smite constantly. It gives way more variety versus just all I do as a paladin is smite every attack. Massive burst damage, and then I just do nothing else. Like, so I personally support it um, immensely. Dice's fault? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she was rolling really poorly like Taylor was the other day. Or was it never there? Which is why Detect Magic didn't show anything on it later. Journeyman, I don't know that Detect Magic didn't show anything so much as it wasn't broken. The question we all got, Journeyman, with the schemers there in the last episode was, wait, why didn't Theozy ever try to use it? How could he have known it wasn't working? Like that shocked look on his face, I think people thought was either seeing the Falcon or that he snapped the glyph and nothing happened. But then he's like, wait, the glyph isn't broken. Theozy never even used it. So it just left us with these questions. Lay on Hands bonus, and yes, it is. It is a bonus in 2024. When enemy then missing each time, wasn't going to win with that fight. That's fair, Jimmy, 100%. Starting tonight, I'm already curious on how the dismeasured level of mechanics will pair with the Seekers. Agreed. Julian's a hothead. I think he might act with more risk than others unless he's reined in. I think Julian is kind of a hothead. I think Matt isn't so much. Hey, Jaden, thanks for joining the Discord. So I think Matt is a very capable player, and I think he'll also not want Julian to die, and so I think he'll kind of contain it a little bit. We will see. Julian is going to kill Octus. Yeah, we will get somebody's death, and it will be at the hands of another player. So right now, 48 votes are in. There's 125 people, it says. So some of you aren't voting. Who do you think is going to... If anybody's going to die from the Seekers, go to the chat right now. There's a poll up. Click who you think is going to die. With 48 votes, we are at Taisha with 38%. Octus is in second with 29%. Julian is in third with 19%. And then Valus has 15%. So the least amount of people think Valus would be the one to die if somebody was going to die in this party. Did a bunch of people mess with Theozy's glyph to kill him and blame others? Oris broke his to turn it on, but Theozy didn't. Was he held back for something else going on? I think he saw something else, or there was another plan. Maybe he faked it. Like, he faked, yo, Melody, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Or it was part of his plan to make them think like he tried to use and it didn't, because he wanted to die to go into the underworld, right? There's a lot of ways this could go. All right, 52 votes and nothing changed. So everybody kind of kept the votes going the same way. It definitely, Journeyman, it opened up a lot of questions like, did he fake breaking it to trick them, but because he actually wanted to be killed for some reason? Or did he see something and then that told him, hey, you have to die here? Because he looked to the sky, he saw a falcon. Or is there something else, right? The glyph, the magic faded. I think it came from spitting on the body. And again, I think if he goes towards being a Echo Knight, I think Theozy might be the Echo, but that's just speculation. But I feel very comfortable saying that it came from spitting on the body during a ritual, because that is right when it, that happened. And then when he went to leave, the shadow was there. So they just feel very, very related, even if maybe they're not. But that's just my take on it. Spilled Inkwell, also welcome in. It's connected to the Plaza missing persons cases and the possible involvement of the municipal officials. Well, I think the missing persons was they all got killed, and then people showed up and was like, hey, where's my husband? He never came home from work at the Plaza. It's because he got killed. Like, that's why. He was a part of the people who got massacred there. Because she almost died in wild shape combat before, but I don't think anybody's going to die tonight. Yeah. Did all chat stop? I don't think so. I just don't think anybody's talking anywhere else right now. Yeah, I think it's just that right now people are not there weren't chats in other places. It's just all YouTube. YouTube's the place to be. Get his greed paid him to die so we could fight Oxus, the Shadow family. Oh, that'd be crazy. That would be crazy. And yeah, we are coming up to the end of this. We go sent maps. Where did you send them? Did you put them in the Discord somewhere? Oh, I see him. Never mind. I see him. I see him. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Valus wants Octus for the stone. Julian wants Octus for revenge about Takona. So Taisha gonna have to double duty for that. It's not knowing what he's talking. Exactly. Well, no. We do know. Or at least we know what Univere thinks he saw in Gatch. So we never knew what he saw until the soldiers overheard them saying that he saw a falcon. Yeah, there was mention of that, and Gatch just wasn't up until the soldiers were outside of Castle Sloke and saw Univere and all them, or was it not outside of Castle Sloke? Was it? I think that's where it was, or when they saw her in the courtyard, at the other place. Pretty sure it was at Sloke. I'm pretty sure Univere said it. I'm almost positive Univere said it. Gatch. But yeah, this is it, guys. We're gonna go and wrap this up so everybody has their time to get their snacks, get their drinks, go to the restroom. I have time to shut this down and get my stuff set up to be able to watch the show myself. If you haven't already, join the Discord. We talk about it live while it's happening, so if you guys want to be a part of that. If you haven't already clicked the sub button on YouTube, consider doing that. If you want to support me, become a member here on YouTube, subscribe to my Patreon, link down below. Those are all great ways to do that. Thank you guys for being here. This was a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. We'll be here again next week if there is an episode. If there's not, we won't be. But I might do a post show tomorrow, to be determined. But if there is a show next week, 7:45ish Eastern, we'll be here tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you guys in the next one.